Well, it's Happy Monday. Everyone had a great weekend. This is Mondays with Michael. Welcome to the room. As you know, each Monday we'll be having a little 10 to 15-minute session. I'll be answering your questions about human resources and training, and I'll be sharing with you some tips as we go along. A few announcements, a few upcoming events I want to talk to you about before we get into today's subject. And I'm going to go to my handy notes here, so please bear with me. On this week, Wednesday, 11 o'clock in the morning, we're going to have an hour webinar on the 5 behaviors of a cohesive team program. This is a team building program based on Patrick Lencioni's work on the 5 dysfunctions of a team. I'll be going through an hour of the actual program, going through the assessment, some of the facilitation materials. So if you're interested, join us on this Wednesday, 11 o'clock in the morning. I will add the link to register after the session today. So for those of you who are going to pop in later, we'll add the link so you can register later. On October 10th, we have another webinar on the PXT Select product, 11 o'clock in the morning again, Eastern Time. We'll review the pre-employment assessment tool, the new revamped assessment tool that we're offering our clients and that they use in their pre-selection process. Talked a little about that last week, but we're going to do a full 1-hour webinar on that product and program, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern on the 10th week after next. And then mark your calendars for November 2nd. This is for most of you who are in the Washington metropolitan area. Wiley's going to be coming out to Tyson's Corner to do an executive briefing, a high-level briefing on the Profile XT Select, PXT Select product from Profiles International, now Wiley. It'll be November 2nd at the Westin in Tyson's Corner. And again, I'll add another link into the chat here later on, post-session, so you can register for that also. So we have a lot of activity coming up, 3 sessions coming up. Hopefully you can join us in one of those sessions and learn a little more about the products we offer our clients. And as always, please email me or chat me your questions about HR and training. I've got a couple good questions over the last couple of weeks, so thank you for sending those in. And feel free to chime in today if you're in the room, and if not, we'll take your questions post-session. So today we're going to talk a little about leadership development and using assessments in leadership development. And I do want to recap the weekend we had, at least I had, with Leadership Fairfax and the class this Saturday. For the last 9 or 10 years or so, I've been very fortunate enough to work with the incoming class of Leadership Fairfax here in our county. Leadership Fairfax is similar to other leadership programs across the country, where a group of leaders from different parts of the county, the community, if you will, come together for a 10-month program to learn about the issues facing the county and how to engage in those issues. Over the course of the 10 months, the class will learn about those issues. They'll have guest speakers along the way. And as they get closer to graduation, they're encouraged to pick a cause or get engaged in a cause. My role at the opening retreat on day 2 is to administer and teach the DISC profile, the Everything DISC Workplace Profile to be specific. So I spend about 3 hours with the class on Saturday. And the profile for Leadership Fairfax is really used in 2 ways. And we also use these the same ways in leadership development. It's first to teach participants about work style. And whether you're using Myers-Briggs or Everything DISC or one of the other fairly well-known assessment tools, leaders need to know about their work style. They need to know how their work style impacts those that work around them, but more importantly, those that work for them. And with the Everything DISC Workplace Profile, we teach participants during Leadership Fairfax how their style impacts working both in their planning teams, which is something they'll do throughout the year, but also working on teams throughout the county, whether you're serving on a board, commission, or task force. Diversity of community is very important when it comes to solving our problems, but also diversity of work styles. So we talk about how that DIS and C interplays throughout their year. We also talk to them and we work with the staff at Leadership Fairfax to help build their planning team. So when we build planning teams for this community program, we want to get a diverse perspective within the planning team. So within the planning team, which will be anywhere from 9 to 10 people, there'll be different parts of the community. There'll be business people, there'll be educators, there'll be those from the nonprofit community, the faith community, the government, and they'll all participate in planning their program day. So the staff uses DISC as part of that team building process, in essence, to build diverse work groups based on DISC and where they come in the community. So we work getting the assessments completed. We send them out to participants, and then the staff builds those teams in part by the results of those profile. Also, during the session on Saturday, we introduced the myeverythingdisc.com site. Those of you that use Everything Disc, you know about the myeverythingdisc.com site. It's a great tool to use to build smaller teams, but more importantly, to build those better working relationships. So again, the site is designed to learn more about yourself. So there's a lot more self-information on the myeverythingdisc.com site. But it's a way to connect. It's a permission-based system. You send an invite to a friend like you would on LinkedIn or here on Facebook. They accept your friendship, and then you can compare your disc style to their style. It gives you a nice 10-page report that you can generate, sit down with somebody, and have that one-on-one conversation. We talked a bit about conflict on teams as we were going through the session on Saturday, and our hope is that they use the myeverythingdisc.com tool to help engage in those discussions. So from general leadership development, we always encourage our clients to use some type of self-awareness assessment. Again, whether it's Everything Disc, Myers-Briggs, we use Work of Leaders, so that leaders understand work style, or they understand their behavior, or they understand their personality. And that's usually an entree into when we do an overall coaching program for an executive. Though the other assessment that we use in our coaching program is a 360 assessment called Checkpoint. It's a Wiley Product Profiles International product, but a 360 assessment gives the leader or supervisor that 360 review, that feedback, multi-rater feedback, if you will, from, again, those they work for, those who work for them, and their peers. Normally, we won't take a coaching client unless they will complete a 360 assessment. And a lot of our clients use 360 assessment as part of an overall performance management process. So it's a way to get feedback from your boss or bosses. You'll get feedback from your peers, those who work sideways with you, if you will. And then you can get feedback from your direct reports, those who report up to you. And it's very interesting to see some of these results. Our 360 tool measures 8 competencies and 18 skills. It gives individuals the ability to really get some solid feedback from those who work around them. And our assessment also gives you the ability to get comments, personal comments from those raters in the 18 different skill areas that the assessment measures. You can find out more about that assessment tool on our website, trainingsolutions.com. It's called Checkpoint 360. There are sample reports there. And again, a lot of our clients use it as far as performance management, and we use it in coaching. We really like using it in coaching for a couple of reasons. One, it does have a boss report. So once the individual gets assessed, the boss also gets a copy of that report, and it's tailored to the boss and how to use that tool in coaching the individual. We like it because we have the ability to run team reports. So if we're working with a leadership team, we can do 360 on the team members and then combine those scores and see what skill strengths and deficiencies are within that team. And then the 360 we use gives us the ability to compare current 360 assessment to a previous 360 assessment. So you compare A to B, if you will. So we'll give the assessment to a leader and then come back 6, 8, 10 months later, reassess that leader based on some coaching and some skill enhancement. And then we can see where those deltas are, where that skill enhancement really played out. So we like using that. We like using that assessment in leadership development. The other assessment we use in leadership development is really what we do with leadership teams. And I go back to the 5 behaviors program. The 5 behaviors program measures trust, conflict, commitment, accountability, and results. Partly for you, but mostly for the team. The way this assessment works is that team members complete this assessment. It's both a personal assessment on either DISC or Myers-Briggs, and attached to that personal assessment are a series of questions about the team behavior and how the team works together. And for a lot of leaders we work with, they're as much concerned with their style, but they're as concerned, or if not more concerned, about how their team is working together. Probably no surprise to those of you listening, a lot of leaders tend to select those leaders to work around them that think and behave a lot like them. Sometimes that's probably a good idea, but sometimes having all folks in the same square or the same circle may not be the right way to go. So we'll work with the leader first. So this is it's going to be a senior team. We work with the leader first to make sure that the leader's on board with this program, explain their role and responsibility in the program, and coaching and mentoring as we go through the program. We send out the assessment to the leaders of the team, And then we debrief that either a day or a course of several days, or as I like to do it, a course of several half days. And through those discussions and through that assessment, the team gets some real frank feedback on how their behavior is impacting team performance. And again, just another assessment tool in our toolbox to help teams work better together. Just going through my notes here, making sure I'm trying to hit all the points I really want to share with you today. Yeah, and the other thing about the 5 Behaviors program I should mention is that, like the 360 program we offer, it has the ability to come back at a later date and reassess. So I did a team recently, one of our good clients here in town, and we did the program. And then 7-8 months after the program, we went back in and reassessed how the team was doing based on the same parameters we assessed the first time. And so participants took the 5 Behaviors assessment again. We compared the results from the first time to the second time. We saw those deltas on the assessment, and we were able to share with participants of that team how they improved. And this particular team I worked on over a course of time actually did improve very much so. It was actually very eye-opening. And there were a lot of feedback sessions with the team as far as how is it going. And one of the nice things about the 5 Behaviors program, similar to the Everything This program we had talked earlier, there's the ability to run the comparison reports. So for this particular group, we ran those comparison reports for each leader compared to the other leader on the team. And we encouraged them, and a lot of folks did have these one-on-one meetings offline with those team members to build better working relationships within the team. So that's just a little snippet of how we use assessment in our leadership development programs. I see we're coming up on about 12 minutes in the live session here, and as always, we try to keep these between 10 and 15 minutes. So I want to kind of end today thanking you for listening in. Thank you for coming in. For those of you listening to this post session, again, we'll going to put some links in the messages about the upcoming webinars we have coming on, and then the executive briefing on PXD Select here in the Washington, D.C. area. Our next session, again, will be next Monday, 1:00 p.m. Eastern Time. Our topic next Monday, we'll be talking about, or I'll be sharing with you, some thoughts on classroom training versus online training. I get this question regularly from our clients. Michael, what do you think about classroom training versus online training? Many years ago, 10, 12 years ago, when the internet really took off, people were putting everything online and canceling all this training that was in the classroom. And we found from our clients that really didn't work real well, that the interplay within the classroom, the team building that happens there, no matter what class you're delivering, helps the team in general. So we'll talk more about that next week, but if you have any thoughts or questions about online training versus classroom training, send me those at ferraro@trainingsolutions.com, or you can send them to me here in Facebook or via the Messenger app. Thanks again for listening in, and we'll see you next week live with Michael, Mondays with Michael. Take care. Have a great day.